India, very, very tough, very, very tough. The Prime Minister just left. He's a great friend of mine, but I said, you're a friend of mine, but you're not treating us right. They charge us 52%.
US President Donald Trump's mission to make America wealthy again has begun, and India is likely to bleed profusely. India is smacked with a tariff rate of 27%. So, beginning April 9, all Indian goods entering the US markets will attract at least 27% duties. India is among the 50 plus nations impacted post Donald Trump's tariff announcement. In 2023 to 2024, India US bilateral trade touched $129 billion. India exports $87 billion of goods to the US in comparison to $42 billion in imports. So currently the trade is in India's favor. However, now with new tariffs coming in, Indian exports will suffer. The tariffs will also make goods more expensive for American consumers. For the moment, the pharma sector is spared, but the future still remains uncertain. Some of the key sectors under the threat now are textiles and apparel, jewelry and gemstones, refined petroleum and IT services, and machinery. These industries form the backbone of Indian exports to the US and could see significant margin pressure, price challenges, and order slowdowns. Now, let's consider specific case to understand these tariff differentials. Supposedly, India charges 10% on US alcohol and the US charges only 3%. This leaves a differential of 7 percentage points. So, the Trump administration will hike the alcohol tariff by 7% to bring it on par with Indian tariffs. So, higher the differential, bigger is the impact. Thanks to Trump's tariff war, several sectors in India are likely to face serious impact. For example, electronics goods like laptops, mobile, and others, which account for $11 billion exports to the USA. The tariff difference is 9% here. Now remember, India acts as an assembly center for electronics brands and not as a manufacturer in a big way. If the tariffs are increased, these foreign companies would look for low tariff assembly hubs. Though Indian car exports to the US are not significant, but it does send out car parts. India's total exports account for $2.2 billion and the tariff difference is 23.1%. Now the Trump administration has put automobile sector under huge risk. Farm goods in India has now become a vulnerable sector post tariff imposition. Here the exports go as high as $8 billion with a tariff difference of 32 percentage points. The reciprocal tariffs are going to hit the fish and the meat industry and also dairy industry with a tariff difference of 27.38 percentage points and 38.2 percentage points respectively. India's pharmaceutical exports to the USA were $8.7 billion last year. This consists of your general and specialized drugs, which form a key sector for India and are now under serious threat. The tariff difference is recorded at 8.6 percentage points, which seems less compared to dairy and agriculture, but the volume is considerably high. Last but not the least comes the gems and jewelry exports to the US, which account for close to $10 billion last year. The tariff difference is 13.3 percentage points, putting the industry in some serious risk post tariff implementation. Donald Trump has repeatedly said that India is a dear friend and expects PM Modi's government to reduce tariff on US exports to their country. Trump has also called the measure a discounted and a kind version. It is expected that Trump's tariffs may knock off $31 billion from India's GDP, which is 0.72% of India's projected $4.3 trillion economy in 2025. Not to forget that America is one of India's largest trading partner with a total of $118 billion bilateral trade in 2023 alone. The US consistently runs a $40 billion trade deficit with India. Not to mention, India's average tariff rate is 5 times higher than America's average tariff rate. Reports suggest that India is considering slashing tariffs on $23 billion worth of US imports in a bid to soften the blow. A senior government official from India has reacted to Trump's tariff implementation, calling it a mixed bag and now a blow. The tariffs are likely to have serious economic consequences for both the US and for the rest of the world, including India. The US Commerce Department is expected to release a detailed list of Indian goods affected soon. This could result in high inflation, slower growth, and much more. India is yet to respond officially, but will there be any retaliation to Trump's tariff war?